If you don't mind, I'm going to sit because I'm going to do some reading, which I don't like to do, but in this particular case, I think it's very important. And if I'm speaking too loud or too softly, will someone raise their hand and check me out, please? As I was listening and watching who's here, and a constant reminder that this is my home physically for 70 plus years. And when you're as old as I am, you see a lot of changes, and some of them you really like, and some of them you don't understand. But I've met some beautiful people, especially in the past few years, that of the greatest care for this very special place, and thank you for all the work you do. In regards to, very briefly, what has happened to this very special place, which I've said publicly many times, different parts of the world, that we are blessed to be in a place that I consider the most beautiful place of people and land on God's given earth. And I really believe even more so today. Listening to the two friends of the Pohoiki and one of them especially go a long ways as far as interaction. If you will bear with me, when geothermal was first introduced to this island, back in the 1980s, as far as what role geothermal will play for the state of Hawaii, I was already in civil defense going on my 8th year. So I took over civil defense in 1976. And a lot of things that they said or didn't say bothered me, but on the whole, the legislature made some very good, strong statements. I will say that again. In 1982-83, the state government of Hawaii established rules of order of the development of this resource, which they felt was for the betterment of Hawaii Island and Hawaii State. And in all sincerity of the people of that time, I will read only excerpts, but this is what plenty obviously, the policies they established for the development of geothermal for the island and state of Hawaii. This was supposed to be the Bible or the guiding light for all that developed geothermal here. And it states, the legislature found that exploration and development of geothermal resources is of statewide concern and must be balanced with interest in preserving Hawaii's unique social and natural environment. The following legislative guidelines directed the Board of Land and Natural Resources in the designation of geothermal subzones, which the Department of Land and Natural Resources worked extensively to identify, and a lot of time and money was spent on that. And I'll let you read just 3 points of guidance that is stated for Hawaii and all developers and those who are responsible for geothermal. One of them that said that any potential geologic hazards to geothermal production or use in a proposed area are to be examined. Number 2, that any environmental or social impacts of the development of geothermal resources within the proposed area be considered. That the compatibility of development and utilization of geothermal resources within the proposed area is considered with other allowed uses within the area and within the surrounding lands. There are 6 or 7 points they put up. I just read 3 of them. If you listen to what I just said, those points were very good. There's not much was known about geothermal in Hawaii at the time, obviously. But they stated those things of concern, extreme concern of our land and our water, the people, and beyond that, and most important, the quality of life of our lifestyle. I don't think I have to go too far today to say what has happened since 1983 when that was passed, and it was known as Act 296. Passed in 1983 with those exact words and more. For the period of that time of 1983 to the present time, what evolved was Act 97. It was a very, very difficult task, and I don't mean difficult. Senator Rutherford sitting next to me, he realizes that. to inform people of what Act 96 was, much less what Act 97 was. 96 is the commitment of good thinkers, whether they agree with it or not, does not matter, they did address those things and pass Act 96. In the process of time of 1983 to the present, 2 years ago, Act 97 was passed. And what did Act 97 do? I think all of you know by now, most of you, I hope should know, we'll look into it. Elimination of 100% of what I just read. Along with that, as was stated, you can build a geothermal industrial plant anywhere in the state of Hawaii. You can do exploratory drilling anywhere in the state of Hawaii with a simple permit from the Land and Natural Resources. You do not have to have any mandatory community meetings as was required in 896. And that was done because they put the controls of permitting under the county government required. That's one. Is that okay? No? This went on. It's on that. Is that okay now? I'll go back to what I was saying is Act 97, was a very, very difficult task to try to inform people what has happened since 1983. House Bill 106 was introduced and Senator Russell Verman was asked to carry the load for us. But even I was quite surprised, even here in Puna, much less anywhere else in the state, how people were focused on PLDC or Act 55, which was tied in with Act 97. But the state took a hold of 55 on PLDC. Did not make a connection in regards to Act 97 geothermal. Because a lot of people thought, oh, that's just Lower Puna's problem, that's not our problem. And so the people, most of the energies was in Act 55, and you saw what the empowerment of people can do. It was the empowerment of people from Kauai to Island of Hawaii. That the legislature saw that non-support of the repeal of Act 55 may be political suicide. And this is what we tried to do with Act 97, obviously with no success. But we came close, surprisingly close, except for political strategies that was deferred for the entire session and can be brought up only next year if someone brings it up. But I need you to know Act 97. All the things eliminated. You have no county rule control or permitting. You have no rules in regards to where you can or cannot drill. You have no rules where you can build a major industrial plant. And I'm afraid there are going to be people out there someday, hopefully not, that if this is not changed, they're going to see drillers outside of the yard. Because it allows it anywhere in the state of Hawaii. I will interject this, and I want to say this now. I'm hoping that we can continue this battle in regards to what I think for our lifestyle, our land and our water and the air, without a continued confrontation that we always seem to be as mankind, this is the only way. And I noticed a new strategy now, and I consider it a new strategy, to even separate more, develop more the hostility between people, between those of Hawaiian heritage and those who are not. by saying this is Haley's gift and this is your right. And the issue is not of that. The issue is strategies to split people. Surely there's got to be a way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for us as mankind to stop this goddamn bickering and confrontation. Because if we continue that, I think you know that there are no winners in that. I don't care which side may eventually win in court, but there's no winning court. We both lose because we as mankind say this is the only way to settle our differences. And I will tell you, for those who know me, I've said it 100,000 times in different countries as well. As long as we think war is the answer to peace, there will always be wars. As long as we think war is war is the greatest failure of us as mankind. And I'm not talking war with guns only, or countries, I'm talking about between you and me. I'll summarize this in regards to something I wrote to the state and to the county government and civil defense administrator and trying to do what I considered was the right thing to do. And again, this was sent to state and county government officials back in 1990, before the blowout. The following comments and concerns are submitted at this time for consideration and follow-up by the appropriate agency. It is strongly requested that a comprehensive monitoring program of the injection system, which is experimental to Hawaii, be developed that will ensure that any possible negative effects on the people, land, air, or water be identified and mitigated. It has also been suggested that part of a comprehensive monitoring program should include seismic equipment. It is also strongly requested that a review be done on the levels of H2S exposure for sensitive portions of the population so that possible evacuation or temporary relocation measures can be developed for these groups. The supply cable that was provided by Department of Health and PGB for H2S toxicity should include sensitive individuals and reasonable ranges and incorporate numbers for more sensitive portions of the population, such as the infirm, infants, and pregnant women. The county and state governments must ensure that violations of any provisions that especially affect the health and welfare of the island's people be dealt with, and we do not allow the deplorable conditions and violations of past geothermal projects to ever occur again. You can see how successful I was if I wrote that in 1990. But I ask of you, all of us, yes, the mission is very important, but equally I think just as important and ultimately and maybe even more important is how we accomplish a relationship so we can have good discussions to address this problem. Thank you very much.
Here's your biggest nightmare. I got it right. Oh, I just wanted to ask her, I gave you that piece of paper. You understood what was on it? Did you read it? To Harry, I gave him a piece of paper. Did you read it? Okay, can you look at it real quick? Public Right to Know Act.
That's an absolute that has been enforced.
Speak in the mic,
The community right to know act, as you know, was passed by Congress some time ago as the Office of Civil Defense basically had control right there at the set point where you want to make any kind of concerns known. And yes, community right to know act is complex, but basically says in your community where you live, you have a right to know what hazards are around you in regards to either mankind or natural.
Right, and when Lorraine Noy was mayor, I remember you were the only one of all the politicians, out of everybody in this who was involved, to not, you did not, your job was to sign off on the emergency response plan. And that you refused, saying that it was not sufficient. And under federal law, under that act, there's another part of the act, has a longer number and a longer thing, but it includes fire, police, civil defense, hospitals, emergency personnel. I mean, the list is as long as your arm. Everything has to be taken into account. And so I'm asking you, is that why you didn't sign that? And I've been wondering all these years, because was it insufficient? If we did have a major upset, and there was a large release of toxic gas into the community, and then we lost 2 firemen, I think 2 police officers and a fireman, I don't know, one or the other, during the blowout. You'll remember that, and they went on disability because they ran in there. And I went and talked, what? Yeah, would you tell me?
The answer to that is obviously a little complex as far as why I didn't approve the emergency response plan, which was required by the Planning Commission, which identifies very specific things that a geothermal plant must address. And it identified myself as a person to review and approve. And it did not address those things, which some of which I just read, in regards to the H2S levels, in regards to noise monitoring, and those things which was identified. And to this day, most of it has not been addressed. However, at that time, and rightfully so, I will say this, the mayor was advised that she has the authority to override me and approve it, and which she did. And that plan is still in effect today.
Thank you.